Hi, my name is Jonathan Sanchez, and I'm from the University of Manoa in America, and I am currently in the RJ program. I chose to study abroad in Japan because I've been fascinated by the culture and the language ever since I was little, and also right now I'm currently majoring in Japanese. By studying abroad here in Japan, I feel like it's going to help me in the long term because after I graduate, I want to be able to come back here in Japan and become an ALT, which stands for Assistant Language Teacher. In addition, I want to be able to transition in Japan more smoother and also to break down the language barrier. My university offered two choices. It was either Osaka or JFOU. I chose JFOU because it was a popular choice in my university and also it was the closest to Tokyo. In addition, since I personally love traveling, I'm able to commute from Tokyo to Machida back and forth. One of the interesting classes I took at JFO was a class called Service Learning. It was taught by Perry Sensei. In that class, we had to do community service. And one of the community service activities that we did was called Canteen. Canteen is pretty much a free dinner event for the Japanese locals. In the Canteen party, it was hosted by a guy named Tony who's from Africa. I don't know where exactly. My role was to help set up and serve the food to the kids. And that party is mostly for families who are struggling financially here in Japan. In that party, there will be free food and also a place where the kids can read books. The dormitory life here is very fun and engaging. The reason why I love my dormitory is because there will often be a lot of events hosted by RAs. Most of those events, they're like an icebreaker and at the same time, a great way to meet new people. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to become a ALT here in Japan after I graduate. Personally, it's because it's like the common way to get your foot in the door in Japan. Then afterwards, I want to be able to start some sort of business here in Japan. I don't know exactly what, but that's my future plan.
Hello everyone, my name is Tony and I was an RJ exchange student 4 years ago. And because I love Oberlin University so much, and that's why I come back now and become a staff here in Oberlin. And as you can tell from my strong Cantonese accent, I am actually from Hong Kong. And yeah, nice to meet you. Since I was a kid, I watch a lot of Japanese anime and I would like to know more about Japanese culture. I know there's a lot of difference between being a visitor and an exchange student in Japan. For example, you can live here in Japan and learn their culture and talk to the local people, make friends with them, which is something that a traveler cannot do. And that's why I decided to become an exchange student here. The experience of being an exchange student here really helps me a lot, especially in my career, because I was majoring in philosophy, and as you can tell, there are not many work choices that I can choose because I am just a philosophy student. But by learning Japanese, I'm able to speak 4 languages, and it becomes a very big advantage for me to find a job in Japan. Before I make the decision to go to JFOU, I did a lot of research about JFOU and I found it provides exchange students a lot of opportunities to have some international exchange with the local student. For example, there's something called class guest. When you're having some Japanese classes, the local students will come to the classroom and learn Japanese with you so that you can put the knowledge into practice by talking to them. And I think it's a very good system, I would say, because I can also make new friends with the class guests. Actually, I meet a lot of new friends with the class guests and I even have some contact with them even I went back to my country. There is one called Learning Japanese by reading newspaper and listening to the news. And I would say it is the most difficult courses that I have ever had in my life because there are almost a quiz every week and the workload is very heavy. I tried really hard, but I didn't get a good grade. But when I look back, I found it was a very good course because I find my Japanese speaking skill and listening skill get improved a lot because I have to make some presentation and I have to prepare quiz every week. Yeah, I find my Japanese ability get improved a lot. And the way Fujita Sensei taught us is so interesting. For example, the method of reading newspaper in Japan is very useful. Living and studying in Machida helps me to understand Japanese culture a lot more because unlike living in the city center, it's not always crowded and you will not see travelers anywhere, which gives me a sense of how living in Japan really looks like. Also, one of the biggest advantages of living in Machida is that you can travel to some famous spots like Kamakura and Mount Fuji a lot easier. There's a lot of fun, and because there's always some activities for you to take part in and have some fun with the local students here. To name one of my favorite activities in JFOU, it must be the one called Yamanakako Camp. Both Japanese students and exchange students will go to a place called Yamanakako. The view there is so impressive and beautiful because the place called Yamanakako is just so close to the Mount Fuji, and you can see the big Mount Fuji right there. And the activities, I have to say, were so well designed because by having those activities, you can make friends with other students very easily. And I also find JFOU is providing us a very exchange student friendly environment to us because there are always a lot of orientations before classes starts. So the staff will be there to solve our problem and tell us everything we need to know step by step. So when I was an exchange student, I feel so relaxed and can focus on my study without any stress. Exchange students can always challenge themselves in JFOU. For example, when I was an exchange student, I get invited by one of the staff at the international office to give a presentation to high school students to introduce my home country, Hong Kong. It was very difficult, I would say, but at the same time, it is so meaningful and challenging, which helped me to improve my Japanese speaking skills and also knowing a lot more about the Japanese high school cultures. It improves my Japanese oral speaking skills, which in turn help me prepare for finding a job and working in Japan. The international dorm is a wonderful environment for exchange students. First, there is almost a party every month, which means you always get the chances to meet new friends with local students and other exchange students. Also, I love the study room there so much because students will gather there and study together at the study room. There are always some local Japanese students who will help you with the Japanese homework, so when you have any questions, they are so happy to help you. It really makes my Japanese learning experience so much more fun and interesting. Honestly, I have never thought of working in Japan before I study here. But after being an exchange student here half a year, I found myself enjoying living here and decided to work here. I am so grateful that I learned Japanese here because now I can make good use of my language skills to help out other exchange students all around the world. And that's why I am staff in the international office at JFOU. And I am looking forward to meeting all the new faces around the world in the future. So if you, watching this video, decide to come to Oberlin after you watch this video, please let me know and say hi to me at the international office. See you there.